Yes. What's going on, everybody? Dre, the bread talker here. Listen, I'm incredibly excited. Today, we're going to be covering some information here on Talk to Me. On this episode, we're going to be talking about the power of 1% trading. On my journey of trading and learning how to become a retail trader more successfully over the years. One of the things that really hindered me, I would say, from my particular growth, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this, is understanding the power of percentage growth as opposed to a dollar amount growth. What do I mean? What I mean is a lot of times when people come on to learning how to trade, their mindset is strictly thinking about how much money I can make per trade, per amounts of trades, per day, instead of thinking, well, if I scale my percentage growth percentage, well, what does that look like? And I wish I harped more on it. Not saying that it wasn't presented to me, because it was. I just really didn't understand it. I always thought it was a lot of math that was needed and required. But technology has opened up doors where it's easier now to just punch a few numbers in, use a calculator to calculate it. And if you compound your percentage growth daily, weekly, monthly, however you choose to do so, it can lead you to more success, right? I'm not saying you're going to be perfect, but I said it's going to be more successful for you to trade percentage versus you doing it by the dollar amount. I always said if I just make $100, I'm good for the day. Or if I make $200 or I make $1,000 in a day, I'm all right. I'll be great. If I make just $10 more, how many of you on your journey, you start trading and you say, hey, look, okay, I know my goal is to make $100 to $150, right? Just thinking of a small number, right? And while you're trading, the market is going up and it's almost there. You're in the trade and you're about $10 shy of your goal, or you're a couple dollars shy of your goal. And what do? A lot of times, emotionally, if you don't have the emotional intelligence, a lot of times what you'll do is you'll close out of that trade. And next thing you know, oh, no, excuse me. No, that ain't what you do. That ain't what you do, because your emotional intelligence probably isn't there yet. And you're thinking about the money, the dollar amount. You go for that 100, or you go for that 150, for whatever your mark is, you go all the way for it. I mean, listen, I've been trading for a while, over the last couple of almost 10 years now. And listen, you can get wrapped up in a trade, and just the smallest thing will keep you in the trade longer than need be. This is what happens sometimes. It goes back the opposite way, right? I know the strategy says it's going to reach this. It should reach this particular point. It says everything in your bones say it should reach this part, or reach this. It should reach your take profit point. And sometimes it just goes the opposite way. But if you were trading on a percentage, you say, if I make 1% a day, 2 days, if I make 10%, if I make 5%, if I make 20%, whatever that is, right? Right. So some numbers are a little bit more astronomical than others, right? When I'm talking about percentages, right? But whatever that number is, I like to say, listen, stick to that percentage. If you can get close, and let's say I'm trading something and my goal is to make 5%, but I'm just 1% shy, or I'm 0.5% shy of my goal. Do you stay? Do you go? Well, it really just depends upon you, right? If you've done the due diligence and you're analyzing the market, and you recognize the imbalances, you recognize that that you're covering your imbalances, that you can recognize your head and shoulders. And I know some of this lingo that I'm covering, it may go over a little bit of your head if you're a novice. I'll do my best not to make it too technical, but I will say this: when the time comes, sometimes it's just best to take some of that profit and live to trade another day. I've been in trades. I can't count how many times I've been in certain trades, and I wish I just had gotten out of the trade. Instead, it pulls back, and now I'm emotionally invested. in a trade, and I should not be emotionally invested in these trades, but sometimes it happens. You're human. If you can remove the human aspect, you'll be okay, and just go by the computation, go by the math. It will make things so much easier. So I'm going to cover some numbers with you. I'm glad you're sticking in. Be sure before we do begin, like, share, leave a comment. Your feedback is incredibly important and necessary for the next stages and phases that we'd like to make here with Bread Talk Investors, with Talk to Me, and other projects and ventures that we have here, right? And make sure, without a shadow of doubt, make sure you select subscribe so that you can stay in tune with all the information that we got coming up down the pipeline, right? Stay tuned to Talk to Me, where we talk about faith, relationships, education, and of course, we're going to talk about elevation, right? Our goal here is to help people be better, grow and be and live better, think better, make wiser decisions, right? So we're going to be covering a myriad of things over time, but today we're just going to simply focus on the power of 1% trading. So take a look at the screen. I'm going to share with you this information right here, ladies and gentlemen. What we have here, oops, here we go. Here we go. Just messing around with the controllers here. What I've always noticed when it comes to trading, a lot of times we set high expectations, right? What are some high expectations that come to mind, right? When you're thinking about trading or investing in the markets, or I don't care if you're talking about whether you're doing it for yourself as a retail trader, or you're investing in something like a mutual fund or a stock, or something of that nature, something where somebody else is doing it for you. So I'm a firm believer that when you put your own destiny in your hand, of course, with proper knowledge, education, and wisdom, right? You can make the best decisions possible for yourself. Now, I would never tell anyone to not utilize the other tools or utilize the other resources that are available when it comes to investing your money. I believe you should have your money invested in all types of areas. So if it's mutual funds, if it's 401ks, if it's things of those natures, CDs, and or just trading in the markets on your own, or maybe having somebody do it for you, whatever it is, you should be investing your money in something, in a vehicle that will propel your money much further, right? Whether it's aggressive or it's passive. So just be wise in the vehicles that you choose. But here, what we've been doing over the last couple of years is leveraging the financial markets, whether it's the foreign exchange, whether it's the indices markets, whether it's the commodities markets. I really love gold markets, whether it's the crypto markets. Over the last umpteen years, almost 10 years of learning how to trade in this market, we've been pretty successful in learning some valuable lessons along the way, right? So I always say, listen, there's you learning and quitting, and there's learning and taking a lesson. I always say there's no such thing as a loss unless you come back and learn and take advantage of the lessons. And perspective wise, when I always think about winning, winning requires lessons learned. Those two L's from lessons learned, depending on your perspective, if you just turn them a specific way, a L, two L's equal a W to me, right? So it's all about perspective. Coming into this business, you show people how to trade at a high level and take 10%, right? So if I was to do $1,000, a 10% growth, I would compound that over time to see what that money looks like. But sometimes that can be a little aggressive depending on the market you're in. But I like to show people the power of trading 1%. That 1% is a strong vehicle for yourself. So I did some research, right? Actually, I was looking into my own finances, and I was looking into one of my mutual funds, and I noticed it said 4.4% APY. And I said, annual percentage of years, I only made 4.4% for the entire year. Now, mind you, I've had been trading manually on my own for quite some time. So me understanding how to go in a market and make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10%, it was definitely a possible thing. So it didn't make sense to me to allow my money to sit in that vehicle. And then, over some time, I did some more research, some more understanding. It's cool to have that passive income over there working for you while you aggressively move the market over here, and you move move some money in the market over here and in this area. In the meantime, become more and more educated. I want to harp on that, right? The power of education is a necessity, because a lot of times people are fearful of doing this same thing, trading in the markets on their own, because they're scared of what they may do. They're scared of the gambler's mentality. But there are ways to get by on that gambler's mentality. We can help you train to eliminate that, or marginalize it, or at least recognize it for what it is when it comes upon you, because it can happen, right? But here, the power of trading 1%. If I was to show you how to take, let's say, a balance of $1,000, right? You take $1,000 in your trading account, right? Take $1,000 in your trade account at 1%. Mathematically, the growth of that, right? We're going to do a 60-day trading plan, right? When I say you may be taking some trades, and one day isn't always one day. One trading day can be 2 trading days. Why am I saying one day could be 10 trading days? Why? Because if I didn't close that trade, guess what? Whatever trade I'm in, if I did not close it, or when I close it, then it's then that completes that day for that particular trade. So if I am on day one, right? I'm on day one, I got $1,000 in my trading account at 1% growth. The day my goal is to make $10. Now that may not sound like a lot, that may not move a needle, but I want you to think about this. When you invest your money and you take it and you put inside of your bank account, what is the percentage that your bank gives you on a daily basis? What is the percentage that it gives you weekly, monthly, yearly? Well, last I checked, the bank doesn't give you any more than 1% growth on the money that you saved. And that's, you know, that may be okay for you, but for most and many, it's not enough. It's going to take you 200 years to double back your money. Doesn't make sense. So you got to make sure that you're putting your money inside of a vehicle that'll allow you positive growth over time. And in the meantime, you're learning. You're learning a lesson. So at 1% is really great. For $1,000 passively, you grew into $10 in a day. The next day after that, you take that same account, you do some more trading. Your next day, your goal is to make what? The next 1% is $10.10. This is the power growth. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you compound this over time, a short period of time, I'm going to show you what $1,000 looks like after 20 trading days. After 20 trading days, and I'm going to show you a trading plan that'll works for you. You've taken $1,000, and in 20 trading days, you've now grown it to $1,220.19 off of 1% growth. The goal is to only make $12.08 in order to do that. These are small incremental growths. Now, if you decide to do a little bit more, that's great. But to compound your money positively, to be successful, listen, I don't think anything is better than that in the world. I'm gonna show you in 60 trading days. You could take same $1,000, and in 60 trading days, you can grow that to almost $1,800. Now, if you took that same $1,000 and you put it inside of your bank account, I'll ask you, and you could do the math. Go take a look and see how much money you would make inside of that. Inside of that. Matter of fact, next time, go take a look at your portfolio. Go look at your mutual fund, your 401k, whatever you have, and I want you to tell me what was the daily growth on that portfolio. What was the yearly growth? Because a lot of times what they give you is the APY, the annual percentage yearly, and I'd have to say it isn't attractive. I already told you earlier that I looked at my portfolio. Actually, this was about 2 years ago. I looked at my portfolio and it said it only grew 4.4%. I was scratching my head like that's not good enough. How long is it going to take for me to get to the monetary destination to compound my money in order to be more successful? And for those who have not invested earlier on, right? You may be in your older years, 40, 50 or so, right? It's a little bit harder to start from zero. A great many of people have lost their money in the markets over the years, whether it's through the 2007 crash, the most recent one when we had the pandemic. Those time frames, a lot of people lost, a lot of wealth was lost, a lot of homes were lost. And the problem is, for those who had money in those areas that they relied upon the system to do for them, what they didn't recognize is they may have had the opportunity to learn how to do it for themselves. Here in the space that I occupy, we teach people to learn how to do it themselves, at least understand what's happening in the markets, because things are consistently changing. We got new government regimes that are coming in, going out. Laws are changing, so it affects how business is being operated, right? Whether geopolitical climate changes are happening, right? So those things shift how products, goods, services are handled in our countries or in our states, in our environments. So I want to encourage you, make sure that you're putting yourself inside of a vehicle that's going to allow you to be a lot more successful for years to come. And in turn, what you do is, as you learn, you show your people how to do the same thing. You show your children, your children's children. You open up the doors for economic growth and development inside of your society, right? So that we can all be more positive. Now, what I love about having a plan, it gives you an idea which way you should go, right? So you see how it is even with this trading plan. So whether I did it for $500, right? And I did it on a 1% growth. If I wanted to up the level of this percentage growth on this particular chart, I absolutely could, right? I love to do it because I want to see what the numbers look like, right? It looks more attractive the bigger the number, right? But I'm not here to sell you high expectations. I'm here to set some expectations for yourself, some things that are achievable and obtainable. That's very important in this space. I want to help you overcome that greed monster that you may have inside of you, right? My wealth community wants to help you do the same thing. So listen, all you got to do is continue to keep talking to me, leave the comments, like, share, subscribe. And this is how we're going to continue to grow here and continue to learn, where you could take something as simple as $500 and in 60 trading days grow it to almost $900, right? Now that, again, I'll put some bigger numbers. How about taking a $10,000 or $5,000 account at 1% growth? What does those numbers look like? See, if you don't know the numbers, you don't have the answers, then you don't know what you need to do to get to your destination. $5, a $5,000 account in 60 trading days, now it's up to almost $9,000, right? But these are incremental growths over time. And if you don't be too greedy, you can reach that destination. Now, if there's some setbacks, if you've put yourself in a position, you make half of that, right? Is it not worth taking a certain amount of money that you have invested in the market that you've learned, that you've honed skill sets that no one can take from you, and make some money in these markets? If you was to make half of this, $9,000 in 60 days, so 60 trading days, is that not successful? That's a little bit, almost $4,500. A lot of people are having a hard time doing that on a daily basis on their own job. I'm not saying, I never tell anybody, don't quit a job, keep what you have. All I'm saying is, let's pad the line. Let's pad the lining. Let's make sure we're putting some buffers in between the bread line, right? And the wealth column. Our goal should be to get to the wealth column. There are quite a few people that are already there already. How did they get there? The laws and power of compound growth. So another thing I want to show you, man, you can go to certain areas and sites, and they can show you how to leverage tools and resources so that you can be successful in these markets. One last thing I do want to show you, what we do here is, how do we find this information? What you want to do is make sure you leave a comment down below. Myself or some of my wealth partners, what they're going to do, they're going to send you a specific link, or take a look inside of the description below this video, and we're going to guide you to the information that's going to allow you to be a lot more successful. But one of the things I want to show you here today, last but not least, before you do go, here we go. I'm going to pull this up real quick. Daily compound interest, right? So this is a quick way so you can see the numbers, see the math, right? So I don't know what country you're in that's watching this, but if you're here like myself in the United States, you start off with a principal amount. Remember I said that we can do, let's say, $2,000. Now let's get back to the 1% daily growth. Let's say you want to do this for 1 month. $2,000 for 1 month. Let's say you do some trading, you do some retail trading. You don't need to trade every day. Let's do 3 days a week. We'll do Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You can set your own plan, right? If you want to do it every day, do it every day. If you want to do 5 days a week, 3 days a week, it's up to you. Go ahead and put that down. Make sure your interest, reinvest interest. I'm going to put it at 100%. I'm going to 100% reinvest my money back in. Let's calculate it. Now, what that tells me now, that $2,000 off of 3 days of trading, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and maybe a week 5, the value goes up 16.1%. Now, mind you, I told you, I looked at my portfolio, and in one of my in mutual fund investments, how much was it for? 4.4%. Here, I just showed you in 1 month what the possibilities of in this environment space that we occupy and becoming a retail trader, how to grow your money 16.1%. That's a positive. That's to the positive. So if you start today, what is today? Today is August 19th. End date is September 19th. You've taken that $2,000 and now you've grown it to $321.94. Now, is it going to be perfect? Some days in the market is going to be better than others. But the overall goal, if you know what the vision is, what the scripture says, right? Make the vision, write the vision, make it plain. And this will show you right here. If you scroll down just a little bit, this is the daily growth right here, right? 20 on the 20th, it tells you your earnings. Your goal is to earn $20. So your total earnings is $20. So that's $2,020. The next day, $2.20. Another, that's your next goal. Another $2.20. So it's compounding and it's growing over time. It even shows you the days that's excluded. So there are tools and resources. If you can learn how to grow your money via percentage as opposed to thinking a dollar amount, the growth would be astronomical for yourself. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dre, the Bread Talker. Listen, make sure again you like, share, leave a comment down below. Definitely make sure you subscribe so that you can stay in tune with the latest and greatest information that we're sharing. Today was the power of trading the power of 1% trading. It could simply be the power of 10% trading. Whatever it is or whatever your goal is, it can be passive or it can be aggressive. The most important thing is that you learn how to put the vehicle of success inside the palm of your hands. Learn how to control your destiny and stop being afraid. There are so many doors and valuable doors that can be opened if only you would just say yes. All right. It's been our pleasure. Talk to me.